Welcome to the routerworkshop.net. Today's router tip is about the rabbet dado joint. Now, the rabbet dado joint is probably one of the strongest joints out there. The other thing that's really good about it is once it's clamped together, it automatically sets up at 90 degrees. Now, the reason we picked this particular joinery is one, it's easy to hide the edges. You can match the material on the edge face as well as set it up to cut the piece to exact fitting. And when you start putting the clamps on it, it goes to automatically 90 degrees. And this project that we're working on is going to be one that ties it together for a blanket box. So without further, let's go to the tip. Step 1. When cutting your rabbet dado, the first operation is to cut the dado. Now, let's quickly look at the setup that we've got here to start with. We've got a 3/8 inch router bit. We've got a space between the router bit and the fence at 3/8 of an inch. And we have a fence width of 3/8 of an inch. So if you wanted to make a 3/8 inch rabbet dado, you need to have the equidistance to match the 3/8. The other thing that's important is that the thickness of your material is 3/4. And the reason for that is, we'll show you in a bit here, that a bit of the math on the rabbet has to match what the groove is. But when we get down there, we'll figure out a little closer. So anyways, the first thing we're going to do is put a dado or a groove. In this case, it's a groove. Groove goes with the grain, dado goes across the grain. We've completed the groove or the dado, and here's where that math comes in. We needed it to be exactly 3/4 of an inch, so here it is. We have the 3/8 inch groove, and we have what's left over is exactly 3/8, so that the block of material that's going to come in here and go down on this side here and is going to fit tight into the rabbet, it's got to match 3/8 of an inch and 3/8 cut out for the rabbet. Step 2. Well, let's just take a quick look at, we see the pieces here already to be cut, and let's take a look at closer at what kind of joint we're going to make. So we've got one piece going across on this corner here, and this is the 90 degree, and we'll just make this, draw this, if I can get my pen to work, draw this block. Okay, we've got one going up, one going down, and this one here crosses over here. So we've got the rabbet fitting into the dado and matching the groove. So what we've got here is, we've got 3/8 of an inch, we've got 3/8 of an inch here, and we've got a 3/8 inch, here's that dado that's cutting out. And now what we're trying to do is set it up so that it cuts the rabbet. Now the tricky part here is, what left over has to fit into that groove. So if we're set it up so that it's flush on the cutting edge, it's going to cut out 3/8 of an inch and leave 3/8 of an inch. Now that amount of 3/8 of an inch that's left has to fit into the groove. The only way we can make sure of that happening is if we've got our thickness made exactly 3/4 of an inch. Now, what would happen if we were doing 1/4 inch joints? What would the thickness have to be? 3/4, or would it have to be 1/2 inch, so that we've got 1/4 of an inch cutting out, and what's left over is 1/4 of an inch. So the 1/4 has to fit into the piece that's being cut. So the dimension of your material is very important. So 1/4 inch What would it be? It's got to be 1/2 inch thick material. Alright, so that's the setup on cutting the rabbet, and let's take a quick look at the pieces going together. Alright, here's the pieces, and if you notice, what we've got is we've got the 3/8 inch rabbet here, we've got the dado or the groove right in place, and we're tying it together, and we've made it flush to these two side pieces, so you got a perfect corner. Now what's really neat about this is the clamping procedure on doing this makes it very easy. It automatically sets it up so that it's a 90-degree. That's perfect. Then we've got the block. It's set her up for a 90-degree. If I can draw this block again so we can take a closer look at it. When we put another one of these joints over here, let's do that. And if I can get my drawing right, and draw down this side up here, and this is like that. This piece ties into here. This goes down the side. Down the side. Now what we need to do is put our two clamps on here, this side and this side. As you put the clamping pressure on it, it's going to automatically make this 90 degrees and make this one 90 degrees. And the clamping pressure, you only need a few clamps to tie it together. Anyways, that's the rabbet and dado joint. That's it for today's tip. Our tip has been sponsored by episode 504 of the Router Workshop. That and many more router tips you can find in the series of the Router Workshop. We spent over 10 years producing the show, and there's unlimited amounts of ways to use your router. So if you're interested in learning more about how to use your router and find new ways to create wood joints and projects, you should join Router Enthusiasts and become a member of the Router Workshop video series. Thanks for your time. This is Rick Rosendahl, and that's it for today.